From Citizen TV, this is Sunday Live with Victoria Rubadiri and Jeff Koinange.
It is the very last Sunday in January. Thank you so much for joining us for Sunday Live tonight. We have a great show for you tonight.
Indeed, we do. Some 130,000 students who are supposed to transition to Form 1 have not yet.
Well, are they missing in action or?
No, for various reasons. So, of course, Brenda Wanga will be bringing us the full report on that.
Yeah, and one of our regular weekly features, Citizen Planet.
That's right. Makes a comeback this year.
Nice one.
We're looking at solar energy.
Solar.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Start tweeting, folks. What do you say? At Koinange Jeff.
At Vicky Rubadiri.
At Citizen TV Kenya. The hashtag is Sunday Live. Sunday Live begins right now.
Tonight.
Where are they? Kajiado and Kilifi counties top the list of counties with the least Form 1 enrollment as government intensifies search for 130,000 missing learners. Pain and anguish of losing a son. Heartbroken parents of Emmanuel Kirima, a Form 1 student at Kilungu Boys High School, demand for justice after son dies barely 12 days after reporting to school. Is it Nzibo or Olenado? Trouble at Supreme Council of Kenya Muslims as court orders Yusuf Nzibo-led faction to take over office. Kisumu killings. Mob storms hospital, lynch a suspect for allegedly mugging and killing a woman in Kisumu's Kibuye estate.
And welcome to the broadcast. Our sign language interpreter tonight is Yulan Zali. Now, 130,000 candidates who sat for KCPE exams last year have failed to report for their secondary school education.
Well, the Ministry of Education data collected indicates that 1.2 million students have joined secondary school across the 47 counties, with Kajiado County having the lowest percentage of transition to secondary school, with just 64% of those who were placed in secondary schools actually joining. Well, Brenda Wanga reports.
Masi Muoko should be in school alongside thousands of other Form 1 students who joined secondary school this month. Instead, she's staring at a bleak future brought about by lack of financial might that could see her sit out the first term of a secondary education at the Tani Girls Secondary School. She isn't the only one at the risk of watching their dreams fade away. In Nyamira, Trevor scored 371 marks and is set to join Cardinal Otunga Mosocho School, but hasn't done so due to lack of funds. John Makori got 322 marks and is also waiting on well wishes to facilitate his transition to Nyamira Boys.
Nisipopata mtu wa kunisaidia sioni kama nitatimiza ndoto yangu ya kuwa rubani. Nitabaki tu hivi venye nilivyo, na sitakuwa na nyumbani, na sitakuwa na mtu yenye ndaweza kuita mtu wa kwetu.
Pesa za kunipeleka shule zimekosa kwa vile tunaishi na shosho, hatujui pale mama alipoelekea. Sasa njia yote imekosa, shosho amejaribu, hakuna njia ya kunipeleka shule.
These are the faces of the children missing out on secondary school education this year. The Ministry of Education data shows that over 130,000 boys and girls from across Kenya are yet to transition from primary to secondary school. The Ministry of Education's report, as at 26th of January, shows that while children have reported to either secondary schools or joined vocational training, 131,854 of them have not reported to school. The ministry placed 1.39 million children to secondary schools. 91% of these have reported to school, while the rest haven't. The instances of low transition to secondary school are evident in counties like Kajiado, which had only 64% of the children joining high school. Others like Kilifi, Narok and Isiolo registered less than 80% transition rates, while Bungoma and Baringo are among counties that send 82 and 85% of their children to secondary school. Laikipia, Nyeri and Samburu counties had the highest number of children moving to secondary school, with nearly all the children placed in secondary schools joining high school. Wajir, Nakuru and Nairobi had a transition rate of 98%, while Marsabit in the north had 97% of the children joining Form 1.
I therefore urge parents, guardians and all stakeholders to ensure that all our runners transit to secondary school level so as to complete their basic education, which is critical to their survival and also beneficial for the country's development and growth.
The government has insisted on pushing for 100% transition rates, but this has failed to materialize this year, with only 91% of the target being achieved. Those who have opted to join technical training stand at 91%, 3,128 boys and 2,595 girls joined vocational training institutes this year. And as the second month of the year and the 1 month mark for the first time of the school calendar approaches, students like Mercy, Trevor and John will be holding on to that hope that they will get to join their peers before they lose too much ground in their quest for education. Brenda Wanga, Citizen TV.
Now, at the same time, the family of a 15-year-old Form 1 student at Kilungu Boys High School is in pain and anguish after their son died barely 10 days after reporting to the school.
Well, the family of Emmanuel Kirima is crying foul, claiming that their son could have died of beatings as he had facial injuries. But the school maintains that the late Kirima had complained of a stomach ache and was rushed to hospital but died before receiving treatment. The family wants a post-mortem conducted to establish the cause of their son's death. Nimrod Tabu with the details.
Kilungu Level 3 Hospital, and here we find the family of Emmanuel Kirima. They are in a somber mood, confused and angry. The news of the death of their 15-year-old son is yet to sink in. Emmanuel had just joined Kilungu Boys High School in Makueni as a Form 1 student on January 15th, and 10 days later, his parents received a call from the school management to come to Kilungu mortuary and identify the body of their kin.
Sikuambiwa kama mzazi. Kitu ya pili, mtoto ni wangu ameaga, na sikuambiwa nikuje kuona mtoto wangu, lakini walichukua nafasi ya kuchukua mtoto mpaka wakamweka kwa mortuary bila mimi kuona. Na kuna mambo fiche, kwa sababu kijana wangu hajawahi kuwa na complaint, hajawahi kuwa na ugonjwa, hajawahi kuwa na shida zote. Lakini nashindwa hii shida ilitokea wapi?
The parents say they are devastated by the news and the fact that the matter concerning their son's health might have been handled poorly. At first, the family was told that Emmanuel was rushed to hospital after complaining of a stomach ache.
Kuna mambo fiche, kwa sababu kijana wangu hajawahi kuwa na complaint, hajawahi kuwa na ugonjwa, hajawahi kuwa na shida zote. Lakini nashindwa hii shida ilitokea wapi? Kijana ni mpole, sio mtukutu. Ni kijana ana mambo mengi. Sijui mambo ilitokea wapi.
But upon inspecting Emmanuel's body, the family says facial injuries were visible, especially on the forehead. The school has declined to inform the family whether he was injured through a fight, a fall, or an act of bullying before being taken to hospital.
Nilipata mtoto ako na alama hapa kwa forehead, imeingia hivi ndani. So mimi nashindwa, ni alama kabisa, unaona imeingia ndani na hapa hivi kidogo. So ndio mimi nilikuwa nauliza, ile ripoti walitupea walisema walileta mtoto hatritiwe hapa. But ripoti yenye tunapata hospitali wamesema mtoto aliletwa already akiwa dead. So mimi nauliza ni nini wanajaribu kutuficha?
Because I went also inside the morgue to check on the boy. It's like there was something that was done to the body because the body was already washed, which I don't think it's allowed because it's a body under the question. So we would want to get the bottom of this even as we are helped by the administration and the bodies in charge.
Citizen TV has since established that the 15-year-old boy was first rushed to a private hospital before being taken to Kilungu Level 3 Hospital, where he was pronounced dead.
Emmanuel Kirimi was brought in on the 25th of January at around midday. He was brought in as a body. He was dead on arrival. He was accompanied by a teacher. So no treatment took place in our facility, nor did any resuscitation take place in our facility.
Kilungu Boys High School head teacher Geoffrey Mwema says they did what the school administration does when a student falls ill. He says they were equally shocked when the hospital informed the school administration that the boy had lost his life.
This student fell sick, and we did what we could, rushing him to the hospital to see what can save his life. The information that the boy had both injuries is false, and it can be confirmed through the medical report and also through the officers who are investigating the case.
The family has opted to transfer the body to Chiromo Mortuary, where a post-mortem will be conducted Monday to ascertain the cause of death. Detectives have in the meantime begun investigations in the cause of the death. Nimro Tabu, Citizen TV.
All right, and just a correction to the name of the late Emmanuel Kirimi was his name. Jeff, it's always tough to do these kinds of stories.
Tough, so tough.
Yeah.
And I hope they get to the bottom of that.
No, absolutely, absolutely.
Goodness. Yeah. At the same time, 2 people were lynched by a mob at Kibuye area in Kisumu on Sunday morning following allegations of mugging and killing of a woman on Saturday night.
Well, the first victim was lynched after he was dragged out of the Jaramogi Oginga Odinga Hospital, where he went to seek refuge from the irate mob, while the second one was smoked out of a shop in Kibuye Market. And as Laura Otieno reports, police had to use tear gas to disperse angry residents.
The Patel's Kondele Highway was on Sunday morning a battlefield. Police lobbed tear gas canisters to disperse this irate mob that had lynched a middle-aged man at the main entrance of the Jaramogi Oginga Odinga Teaching and Referral Hospital. It is alleged that the man had confessed to murdering a businesswoman on Saturday night and ran into the hospital to escape the wrath of the mob.
The culprit entered up to our emergency area where he was caught up with the mob who are in pursuit. They overpower our security team, who pleaded with them not to kill the person within the hospital, but they later carried the said culprit outside and killed him outside the gate.
The mob then made its way to Kibuye Market, where a second suspect was lynched on allegations of being part of the gang that has been reigning terror in the recent past. Boda riders accused the gang of using motorbikes that bear no registration plates, tainting the name of genuine riders in the sector.
Wengine wanaendesha pikipiki wanajibeba watatu usiku. Tukipata mtu kama hiyo shikeni, akipita bezi yako upate pikipiki imebeba watu watatu usiku, hao sio bodaboda, hao ni waizi. Sababu hao ndio phone snipers.
The residents further accused security agencies of laxity, vowing to initiate a citizen-led crackdown to smoke out criminal elements within the boda transport subsector.
Naomba usalama ya pikipiki kiwapata bila number plate, zio pikipiki zishikwe zipelekwe Kondele. Na mapolisi watusaidie, si ati ando wakali kama pena. So tunaomba serikali watupatie security ambao watatusaidia. Lakini gavana Nyong'o Abalawanga, tokeni nje msaidie Kisumu. If not, my friend, you will go home very soon.
The 2 bodies have been moved to the Jaramogi Oginga Odinga morgue. Laura Otieno, Citizen TV.
All right, on to politics and the controversial housing levy. And the country's state of the economy dominated political conversations across the political divide as each side put up a case for their stand.
Prime Cabinet Secretary Musalia Mudavadi urged Kenyans to exercise patience as the government implements policies that he says will eventually revive the economy. Mudavadi defending the president against criticism over the the various policies that have been seen to burden an already overwhelmed population. He spoke even as Safina Party leader Jimmy Wanjigi continued to hit out at the Ruto administration over the housing levy. Chemutai Goin reports.
With the government remaining under the sharp focus of Kenyans over what are turning out to be unpopular policies and decisions, Prime Cabinet Secretary Musalia Mudavadi came close to being shouted down as he called for patience when he represented the president at a church function in Bondo, Siaya County.
There is no walk in the park. Tutaumia, lakini we shall succeed. There is hope at the end of the road. Hiyo sawa sawa. And I like this debate. I like the debate because it means that we are all alive to what is happening. And I can tell you that we are going to work through the difficult times, and you will see the difference.
Seemingly reading the mood on the ground, he resorted to pacify the crowd, who in the end was still not convinced.
Hivi karibuni, we shall be surprising you with some very important news and pleasant. I will not say any more. Nawachia hapo kwa sasa. But muniangalie vizuri kabisa. Si nimesema nikiwa hapa.
The Prime CS, accompanied by his ICT counterpart, resorted to dangle some development carrots which seemed to be the antidote.
Nimeambiwa kuna Bondo Liunda Road ambayo bado contractor alikuja akakaa kidogo na kazi bado inaendelea. Tunataka tusukume wamalize. Si namna hiyo? Nimeambiwa kuna Goye Bridge, daraja ambayo inasumbua.
We want to sort out roads, we want to sort out water, we want to sort out electricity, we want to empower our women, we want to empower our youth. That is the agenda that we have for this region.
Still in Siaya County, Safina Party leader Jimmy Wanjigi was accompanied by Siaya Governor James Orengo and a host of other leaders hit out at the government, demanding a refund of monies collected under the now unconstitutional housing levy.
He can go on with affordable housing. Lakini hiyo tax, that levy, he can no longer collect. Na ile ambao amechukua so far, because we don't even know how much it is. Ama mimi mnajua? Mnajua? Lakini ni pesa yenu. He must return it to the people of Kenya. Arudishe. Kwa sababu hata akileta mswada huku mbele, don't be fooled. It cannot be retrospective. It cannot be backwards.
We got a dysfunctional government. We have a dysfunctional government because life is becoming difficult every day. School fees and many other things that, we should be having a tax relief. We're having a tax burden.
Budget Committee Chairman Dende Nyoro was also in the lakeside city of Kisumu, where he assured the residents that the sharing of the national cake would not be based on political choices.
Kama ni ugawaji wa pesa ya budget, vile tunagawa ya kaunti zingine zote, ndio tunagawa katika kaunti zile zingine zote. Pesa tunagawia all the 47 counties. We look at Kenyans as all deserving Kenyans, kwa sababu wa Kenya wote wanalipa kodi. Na kwa hivyo hii inasema kwa sababu nimesikia even our former majority leader anaomba. Wacha nikueleze mbele ya hawa wadosi wetu. Hata hufai. Ya mwisho, iko jambo ingine moja tumefanya hivi juzi. Rais akasema wale wakongwe wetu wazazi, wale wamefikisha miaka 70 kwenda juu, mnajua serikali inawasaidia na ile cash transfer ya serikali.
The government has identified education, agriculture and stalled infrastructure projects as key priority budget areas ahead of the unveiling of the 2023-2024 budget policy statement. Chemutai Goin, Citizen TV.
Now, at the same time, the leadership dispute between two factions of the Supreme Council of Kenya Muslims, SUPKEM, is set to escalate into a full-blown wrangle after courts issued orders reinstating the Yusuf Nzibo-led faction to assume office.
Well, the court order secured late Friday also freezes the council accounts, stopping the current office holders led by Hassan Olenado from transacting business. Olenado has, however, vowed to stay put until a case filed to determine the bona fide office holder is heard and determined.
Council.
It all started with this letter dated January 25th. The letter, with the Supreme Council of Kenya Muslims letterhead titled Change of Leadership at SUPKEM from the office of the ousted national chairman Yusuf Nzibo. Nzibo's return is informed by a letter from the Registrar of Societies to their lawyers, Messrs. Kuso and Advocates, dated January 23rd, that recognized the 2017 lineup when Nzibo was elected as a national chairman. In the letter, Nzibo notes that Hassan Olenado is no longer the leader of SUPKEM, as he was a masquerader who imposed himself as the chairman. He further directs Olenado to vacate the council offices as he is ready to take charge on January 26th. However, on the day that Nzibo was set to take over office, Olenado's team stayed put and defended their leadership.
Mr. Nzibo's letter claiming to be the bona fide national chairman should be ignored and be treated with contempt it deserves. Hence, we call upon any member, partner, associate or friend of SUPKEM who may have received the said letter claiming that Nzibo is the national chairman of SUPKEM to ignore that letter. The leadership of the Supreme Council has instructed our lawyers to initiate a contempt of court proceedings against Mr. Nzibo.
However, Nzibo's function is reported to have secured yet another order allowing them to assume office effective Monday. It all started back in November 17, 2019, when the National Executive Committee of SUPKEM resolved to suspend Nzibo from his position as chairman, a decision that Nzibo challenged in court, arguing that his removal was illegal as it did not follow the laid-down procedures. A matter has remained active in court after a mediation attempt which could have seen Nzibo withdraw the matter failed to bear fruit last year. After Nzibo's departure, Olenado, who had been co-opted as an NSC member back in 2017 and who had been proposed by Nzibo to his deputy in 2018, when the then deputy chairman Abdullahi Sirat passed on, took over the helm of the council in an acting capacity. In this letter dated November 18, 2019, and signed by Olenado, it stated that his elevation was sanctioned by a resolution of the National Executive Committee at a meeting held on November 17, 2019, when Nzibo was relieved of his duties, a claim disputed by the Nzibo-led faction. 3 years later, Olenado and other top officials made changes to the list of SUPKEM's national office bearers submitted before the Registrar of Societies. The changes were made, and through a letter dated March 31st, 2023, Olenado is recognized officially as SUPKEM chairman. Following the changes, Salim Omar and advocates wrote a protest letter to the Registrar of Societies alleging that there was an unlawful and procedural and fraudulent change of SUPKEM's national office bearers. They argued the last time SUPKEM held elections was back in 2017 when the changes were contrary to SUPKEM's constitution, as fresh elections sought to have been held in 2020. The Registrar of Societies wrote to Olenado's team to respond to allegations within 14 days, but the Nado-led faction ignored the Registrar's demand. This led to the Registrar's decision to expand the record of the annual returns for the year 2019-2022, which were all filed at the end of 2023 after failing to make the returns for 4 years. The registrar had also directed them to conduct an AGM, furnish them with a true and complete list of its officers and members, and file the annual return for the years ending 2019, to 2022 within 60 days. Ole Naado's team were opposed to the decision and asked the registrar to rescind the decision to expunge their details. They moved to court and an order was issued for the status quo to remain until the matter was heard and determined. With the announcement of yet another legal battle between the two sides, it seems the fight for the control of the council is far from over.
Well, still on politics, and Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua has called for the integration of technology in enhancing regional security.
Speaking in Mombasa, when he officially opened the Mashariki Cooperation Conference, which brings together top security and national intelligence service chiefs from over 10 states in the Eastern African region, Gachagua said technology is key to tackling emerging threats, especially in the digital space. He asked the officials to come up with a framework for sharing knowledge and information between intelligence bureaus.
The changing landscape of security demands that we seek and enhance partnership networks beyond our borders. Armed conflicts are, among other issues, fueled by illegal trade in weapons across our borders. Terrorism and religious extremism are taking root as radicalization cells also grow. As technology advances, crimes and other forms of insecurity have gone high-tech, therefore more complicated. These and other security challenges threaten national development agendas for socio-economic transformation towards the Africa we want.
The interconnected nature of our security and stability can therefore not be overstated. The fate of one country is intricately linked to the security of another, as our collective security is only as strong as the weakest link in our region, in our regional chain. Hence, the challenges we face demand a collective response from us, a response that can only be effective if we stand together.
All right, on that note, we're going to take our first break here on Sunday Live. Tell you there's plenty ahead, including Citizen Planet.
That's right.
Making a debut for this year.
Exactly, getting power from the sun. What that means for you.
Absolutely. Yeah. Keep tweeting at Koinange Jeff.
At Vicky Rubadiri.
At Citizen TV Kenya. The hashtag is Sunday Live. Sunday Live takes a break. We'll be back in a moment. In the meantime, coming up. Coming up on our Sunday series, Citizen Planet, we look at solar as an alternative source of energy.
Sí, ¿vos de qué parte sos?
Yo de aquí.
Either goat manure, pig manure, or cow manure, or compost manure. Either is okay.
Unaona tabia yako mbaya ndio imenifanya nijue kwa you're not Jebulani's daughter.
Exactly 32 minutes past the hour. Welcome back to Sunday Live right here at Citizen Television. Now on to our feature for the evening. And the recent nationwide power cuts have brought to the core, or to the fore, conversations of what off-grid options could be available to consumers.
Although it makes up a small percentage of Kenya's energy mix, solar is slowly catching on, though not enough to see the initial investment costs come down. Well, Huawei is one company trying to attract more solar energy users in the country with the launch of its newest residential unit. Citizen Planet visited their headquarters to find out more on the benefits of getting power from the sun. Kenya's estimated solar potential is almost 15,000 megawatts. At the moment, however, the installed capacity sits at just about 100 megawatts. Back in 2019, the largest solar installation of 55 megawatts was launched in Garissa.
Garissa sasa imeunganishwa kwa the national grid. Munapata stima kutoka upande ya zile dam za hydro. Na leo hii nyinyi pia mtakuwa mnatuma stima ambayo itakuwa inatumika na Wakenya wengine.
As the largest solar power plant in East and Central Africa, it had stakeholders in the solar space wondering whether this would see more Kenyans embrace a life that is less and less reliant on the national grid. Huawei, which is behind the Garissa solar project, has been slowly converting individuals and corporates to buy into power from the sun. This is their rooftop at their headquarters in Nairobi.
So this entire solution is a solution that is supporting the operation of Huawei, meaning that the entire building, we are saving at least a third of our electricity bills. So it's a pretty much 80 kilowatt peak solution, grid-tied solution, with a 450 watts panel.
A residential smart PV solution.
This week, Huawei launched its new smart PV solution called the Residential Luna 2.0.
It's really for energy independence, less reliance on the grid. And when there's blackouts, this equipment can get you through the blackout, so you don't have to have any times without power. But also, the sun is free energy. Once you have the equipment, the sun provides free electricity. So there's a very good return on your investment as well, because we know the price of diesel, the price of grid goes up every year. So the sooner you get solar energy and you're relying on the free energy from the sun, the more money you save, the better return on your investment.
It's part of their wider range of solutions that cover SMEs and large-scale energy consumers like manufacturers. So just what does harnessing the power of the sun look like?
So you have the sun hits the solar panels, which normally we call it DC, direct current. And then this direct current goes to the inverters. So we have the inverter system. So inverter, the use of the inverter is to convert the DC to AC. So the AC current is now typically what we use for our own usage in the house, in the factories, and also to the utility.
After the country suffered 3 nationwide power outages in the space of 3 months last year, can the sun really power your house in an instance of a blackout?
During this time, when there's sun, assuming that you're in the house, the solar, whatever usage you're doing, the solar, of course, once it's generated, everything that you're doing in the house, it will be essentially through the solar. But now the excess of which is being generated, it is stored on the battery. So assuming that maybe during the peak time in Kenya, it's typically around 6 to 8:30, is when now the battery kicks in.
So beyond the practical sense it makes, what about cost to the pocket? How much would someone save?
Yeah, so I can give you sort of like an estimate. So essentially, I have one of my customer. He used to pay generally Kenya Power at around maybe 15,000 shillings. So once this solution was installed, the guy is saving a lot. So that when I call him, he normally tell me that, look, I'm only paying Kenya Power around 2,000 to 3,000 shillings. So there's a significant saving, almost 65%.
I'm a homeowner. I'm looking at installing the residential unit. What would that cost? But over time, you've mentioned it will benefit. So what does that look like?
So if you have an estimated price of a solution which will cost you maybe 600 or 700, so the return on investment for you as a person, it will be there about around 2 years or 3 years. But you'll have a consistent supply of power that will be with you for the next 10 or 15 years.
Could that cost be justified over time? And maybe even see Kenyans go completely off the grid? Only the future knows that answer. Victoria Rubadiri, Citizen Planet.
Coming up, tension high in Samburu West following bandit attacks at former PS home.
Sí, ¿vos de qué parte sos?
Yo de aquí.
How much do you love your daughters?
You know what? You struck gold. If you were already going out with her, why were you keeping it all a secret?
But fate has other plans.
I don't know how much longer I can keep lying about this. Sophia!
Sophia,
I don't think you could get ourselves into even more trouble.
A riveting story of obsession, deceit, and love. Cabo, starting tonight at 10 p.m.
It is exactly 44 minutes past the hour. Welcome back to Sunday Live here at Citizen Television. On to more politics. And President William Ruto has arrived in Rome, Italy, for the Italy-Africa Summit, whose theme is a bridge for common growth that is set to bring together 20 African heads of state and government.
All the leaders will be exploring partnerships that will help accelerate the realization of Kenya's development agenda, while also offering a platform for Kenya to forge strategic collaborations with development partners on critical areas like food security, vocational training, energy and infrastructure development. President Ruto will also hold discussions with President Sergio Mattarella to foster collaborations and unlock pending matters, including the stalled construction of dam projects.
All right, and back home. Listen to this. A bull owned by Kakamega Senator Dr. Bonnie Khalwale has killed its caretaker and trainer.
Well, reports indicate 46-year-old Kizito Moi, who has worked for Khalwale for 24 years, was gored to death by the bull. His body, which had deep injuries on the head, neck and stomach, was discovered earlier today by another farmhand. Well, the bull was later slaughtered according to the traditional norms, and the body of the deceased was taken to Kakamega morgue by a police who visited the scene awaiting a post-mortem examination.
Jana jioni alipokuwa anafunga akiwa peke yake katika mahala penye bull hulala, inaonekana bull ilimvamia ikamshinda na nguvu, na kwa sababu alikuwa huko peke yake na sisi tulikuwa huko juu kwa nyumba, hatujui kama alitoa mlio, hatujui, lakini bull imempatia multiple injuries.
Anataka kwenda kanisani, ndio nasikia kijana wangu ananipikia simu ananiambia, mama umeenda kanisani? Nikamwambia hapana. Kama hujaenda kanisani, mtoto wa shangazi yako ameaka. Nikamwambia mtoto gani? Akaniambia Moi amekufa, nimefika huko amepata majeraha kwa sisi la ng'ombe amekufa.
On to tensions in Samburu, and tension has gripped Lobigare village in Samburu West sub-county following suspected banditry attacks at the home of former Agricultural Permanent Secretary or Principal Secretary Dr. Richard Lesiampe.
All the attackers targeted Lesiampe's homestead that serves as a holding space for most of the livestock in the village during the night due to persistent insecurity in the area. The attackers were, however, repulsed by National Police reservists guarding the homestead. Residents have raised concerns due to the increasing attacks, with the former PS Lesiampe urging the government to tame banditry for once and for all. Well, it's the third attack within a week, and it comes barely a few days after the killing of a reservist.
Akakuja kapika nyumba mpaka tukashinda ni nini? Hebu angalia hii. Karibu sasa 20 nyumba moja tu.
tumelia ya kutosha tangu election. Nasema tu hii kitu iko bado iko inatusumbua. Wasamburu wengi wamekufa, more than 80 wamekufa. Mama wamekufa, watoto wamekufa. Ng'ombe zimeenda. Sasa rais ile kitu tunalilia. Better to go to State House.
My home was attacked last night by marauding bandits. Cattle rustling is a primitive method of capital accumulation, and this must stop. The landscape of Samburu West is littered with death, with fear, with trauma.
FKF Premier League side Bandari FC eliminated by little-known Bungoma Stars in the FKF Cup round of 32.
Sí, ¿vos de qué parte sos? Yo de aquí.
Bet slip yako ukiona iko sawa, place bet, alafu sasa unategea game zichezwe. Big Super Jackpot ni time yako.
Minadai wote twenda hivi to bet.
Not for persons under the age of 18. Shabiki.com is authorized and regulated by BCLB license number 587.
It is exactly 6 minutes to the top of the hour. Welcome back to Sunday Live here at Citizen Television. On to sports news, Vicky.
Well, little-known Bungoma Stars caused the first major upset in the FKF Cup, edging out FKF Premier League side Bandari FC 2-1 at the Sudi Stadium in Bungoma. Now, the host Bungoma Stars stunned Bandari with the match opener in the 24th minute through Derek Tekwo for a 1-0 lead at halftime. At the beginning of the second half, Bandari striker Derek Nsimbambi Meshak Makoha restored Bungoma's lead in the 64th minute, and they held on to win the match 2-1. Bungoma Stars will now play another FKF Premier League side, Talanta FC, in the next round. Talanta beat Marafiki FC through post-match penalties.
Tulijua game itakuwa ngumu. Siku hizi unajua boli imebadilika. Kuna timu ndogo na timu kubwa. Ni vile wanajituma, na sometimes boli wafani. Unaweza jipanga, unaweza fanya mazoezi kila kitu, lakini matokeo wa matatu kuna kushinda na sare.
Naweza sema vijana wamejituma kwa leo. Now that niko now the 1 week old, I can say that wamejituma. Then our strong point yenye tulijaribu kuongea nao ni how we can manage the ball.
All right, from football to athletics, and the 33rd edition of the Lotto Discovery Kenya Cross Country was held on Sunday morning at the Eldoret Sports Club with no major upsets recorded in the 4 races of the day. Now, in the 10-kilometer race, senior men's race, Cornelius Kemboy won the race in a time of 29 minutes, 24.2 seconds. Coming in a distant second was Kelvin Kibiwot, 17 seconds behind the winner. Gideon Kiprotich was third. In the 8-kilometer senior women's event, Catherine Reliwe emerged the winner in a time of 26 minutes, 31.5 seconds. Margaret Chalimo, who was using the race for a speed work, was second in a time of 26 minutes, 47.1 seconds, as Glorious Chep Kurui completed the podium. The junior women's race was won by Ivy Chepchirchir, followed by Maureen Chepkowech and Niver Chepkemboy.
Now, Dagoretti High School edged out Highway Secondary School 65-62 in the finals of the Under-19 Kenya Academy of Sports Basketball Invitational Tournament. Dagoretti were in fine form as they again edged out Machakos 45-41 in the semifinals. Highway was too strong for Hospital Hill, winning 26-12 in the semifinals. In the Under-16 boys, Machakos shocked Upper Hill, winning 34-29. In the under-19 girls, Raila Education Center were the winners, beating Nasokol 41-35 on their way to the final. Raila Education Center beat Neighbors Olympic 33-20 in the semis. The three-day tournament attracted 20 teams playing in 4 categories.
During the start of the game was down. They didn't believe in themselves, but we picked up very well and we managed. It was a close score.
We knew we had the will and the urge to do it again. We won last year, so we never wanted to lose this game today again. So that's why we wanted to win. We know it's a tough team, our rivals, so a win was to make a statement today.
On to the AFCON championships in the Ivory Coast, and Nigeria firm